Mic check, mic check. Y'all come on in the room. We got some things we gonna talk about tonight. Tonight is gonna be a good show. Thank you all so much for coming on in the room. My music cut out before I was ready for it to. Y'all come on in the room, hang out with your boy for just a little bit on tonight. I promise I'm not gonna hold you long because line my fingers up just right. Yes, the game is on. D. Jackson State University is playing the University of Louisiana at Monroe. And I do plan to watch some of the game tonight. However, I did not want to miss another weekend or another week hanging out with you guys. So, for those of you who are watching me live, good evening. Rewind. We got to do that all over again. For those of you who are watching me live, good evening. And for those of you who are watching me on the playback, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is when you're watching. This is the Steps Headed Podcast. I am Stephen B. I am the host with the most, and I enjoy doing what I do. So I'm going to keep doing it until y'all tell me not to do it no more. Welcome once again to my little piece of the world, my little space on the internet. It is the Steps Headed Podcast show. This is the spot where if you ask me, I'll tell you. Now, tonight let me back up. So I missed you guys on last week. I did not broadcast last week because we had a lot going on in my family. On last Monday, my aunt, Mary Frances Robinson, got her wings and she went on home to glory. And then on Wednesday, my uncle, Jesse Sam Robinson, excuse me, my uncle Jesse Sam Robinson got his wings and he went on home to glory. And so these were my mom's siblings. And so we had the difficult task yet pleasure of laying them to rest on this past Saturday. And so on Thursday, when I should have been podcasting or could have been podcasting, we were handling family business and doing things to make sure that everything was good with them. And so, for those of you who have reached out and for those of you who sent messages and comments, and, for those of you who just did what you did, I just want to say on behalf of my family, thank you so much for your prayers. Thank you for your concerns. For those of you who reached out, for those of you who saw the post and commented on the post, for those of you who hit the inbox, and for those who, you just didn't know what to say and you just decided to talk to the Lord about it. Thank you. We sincerely appreciate it. Don't stop praying. We're still in the process of going to and through this new norm of making the adjustment. I don't want to say we're getting used to them not being here because they'll forever be in our hearts, forever in our minds. But thank you. Thank you. And so I'm actually going to do this show tonight in honor and memory of my aunt and my uncle, uh, Mary Frances Robinson and Jesse Sam Robinson. Uh, you are now part of that great cloud of witnesses that's watching over us. And so, as your nephew, your favorite nephew, I'm talking about the best nephew that was ever created in the nephew pool. And I hope my cousins are watching. Y'all, please feel free to comment, say what you got to say, but y'all know the truth. Y'all know I'm the favorite. I said what I said, and I ain't gonna take it back. And just to be clear, I'm not just the favorite nephew. I am the favorite L2. So I'm the favorite of the nieces and the nephews. I said what I said. And yes, I did wake up this morning and went through my whole day and decided at 8 o'clock I was going to choose violence. And so uh, we are here. And that's part of, so I'm doing tonight's show in honor of my aunt and my uncle. But part of what we're going to be talking about tonight kind of falls in line with um, what's going on. And so Earlier last week, I put a post out and I was looking for a mental health counselor or looking for someone to. I see you, April. I was looking for someone to a mental health professional or a counselor or someone to come and just kind of have this talk with me. But there is a generation that many of us find ourselves in at this point, and it's called the sandwich generation. And what the sandwich generation is, the sandwich generation is you have a middle-aged adult who is taking care of their children, and then they're taking care of their parents. Many of us find ourselves in that generation unknowingly. And there are a lot of struggles that go along with being a part of the sandwich generation. There are a lot of physical struggles, there are mental struggles, there are emotional struggles. And so I want to touch on some of those things tonight, along with some other topics, like how do you handle grief? Now, I promise you, this is not going to be a sad show. I'm not trying to do the tears and all of that. But these are things that are very hot. They are hot button topics for us. They are hot topics. And I was not able to follow up, so I was not able to get a counselor on for this show. However, this is going to be a topic that I plan on addressing at a later date. And I do plan to have a counselor or a therapist or someone on the show who can just kind of help navigate these things. So the expertise that you're going to get tonight are from my degree in life, because I have found myself having to cope with these things. I found myself having to live in and through and with these things. My father, he passed on 5 years ago, and it's just a lot to deal with that. And I remember when my dad got down sick, and I was living with my mom and dad at the time, and I was trying to take care of him. And then mom hit a little rough patch, and so I was having to assist in taking care of her, and then still trying to kick in for my children, and trying to figure out navigating being in a relationship and still having to pay bills and make money. And it's a lot. It's a lot. And then another instance or another thing that I've found is I have a lot of classmates who they have transitioned, and their parents are having to take care of them, where their parents are having to deal with now. um their parents are having to now deal with, I'm no longer I no longer have my child. But in some cases, if you're a parent and you lost a child and then that child had children, now you have the responsibility. If the son or daughter was not married, then you have the responsibility of kicking in to take care of their children. And so what I have several letters that I have received, and we're going to touch on all of these letters. I am sorry that I don't have it set up the way I normally have it set up. But we are going to break down some of these nuggets that I have on tonight. So, my first topic, and if you look at my post, I said we're gonna hit a lot of topics tonight, and so we're gonna hit them real fast. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get on in and get out the way. So, first topic, it says navigating dating, navigating dating in my 40s. It's already difficult finding someone to spend good quality adult time with. but I'm having to balance it with taking care of my high schooler son and my dad, who's recently been diagnosed with cancer. Um, so first off, um, praying for your dad. Um, that that can be a lot. That can be a lot to deal with. That's a lot to deal with for you as an individual. And so, I I'm gonna just put two and two together and say, since you're talking about dating in your 40s, I hope you're not married. I'm gonna just say that right there. If you're talking about dating in your 40s, uh, I hope you're not married. And then you're having to deal with a ailing father and a teenage son. That in itself can be a lot to deal with. And then, in addition to dealing with an ailing father and a teenage son, trying to have um, the experience of, I guess, normalcy in finding that companion. Um, Now, because the header on this message is navigating dating in my 40s, I'm assuming that you are at the very least 41. Um, I have had to make those adjustments. I have had to learn how to navigate those things, and I'm gonna be honest. I probably did a horrible job at navigating it. Um, I'm I'm not. I'm in no stretch of the imagination going to say that I cornered the market on learning how to date in my 40s. I can say I am learning how to date in my 40s. Um, what I will tell you is, and this is a lesson that I had to learn. This is a lesson that I had to learn the hard way, and I bumped my head a lot on this. What I will tell you is, anybody who comes into your life, be honest with them. Don't hide your situation. Don't hide what you got going on. Let them know, hey, this is my life. This is who I am, and this is what I got going on. I have a high school son, um, and that in itself comes with its challenges. And I have a father who has recently been diagnosed with cancer, and so that comes with its own set of struggles. What I need you to do, person who I'm looking at, trying to get to know and see if we're going to pursue a dating life, what I need to know is, can you handle this? Um, can you handle the fact that there may be times that I won't have time to spend with you because my son has something going on? I don't know if your son plays sports. I don't know if your son is in any extracurricular activities, band, choir, chess club. But what you never want to do is, you don't want your child to ever feel like they are being neglected by another person. At the same time, you don't want it to be a struggle where you are neglecting yourself, for, to use, and the term that you used in the message, adult time. We all need some adult time. We need time when we're not dealing with homework. We need time when we're not dealing with bills. We need time when we're not dealing with life that be lifing. We need time. I want to go out and enjoy some live music. I want to go out and have a nice dinner with nice conversation. I want to go out and just sit by the water and do absolutely nothing while sipping on a glass of your favorite beverage, be it adult or non-adult. It can be sweet tea, it can be a Long Island iced tea. We all need that time, and we all need that opportunity to just decompress. Um, but again, part of that process is being honest with yourself, number one, and then being honest with the person that you're pursuing. And sometimes, we'll fall into the category of dishonesty out of fear, and dishonesty is not always a blatant lie. Sometimes dishonesty is withholding information. I may not give you all of the truth. I may not tell you everything that's going on, but the problem is that's not fair to the person that you're trying to be involved with. If you got 17 children, tell this person, listen, I got 17 children. I got three sets of twins, and I'm fertile. So, you enter at your own risk. No pun intended. But if you got something going on, let them know. Listen, I got this going on. If you got a crazy ex, tell them, hey, I got a crazy ex. And then if in your honesty, if they still choose to be with you, then it is them being with you by choice. And it is not them being with you for a lack of information. After you fully disclose everything that you have going on, then they have the choice on whether or not to pursue or continue the conversation. In light of the the remainder of the letter, the other thing that's very important in this process is time management. Because as much as you have to carve out time for your son to do things like homework and just, rearing your son. And now the interesting thing about this letter is I don't know if the person who sent this is male or female. So this could go either way. But you have to carve out time for your son. You have to carve out time to help groom and rear and train and grow him up. Um, but then you also have to have time for your father, and not just time at the hospital, but you have to have time to make memories. You have to have time to reminisce. You have to have time to enjoy one another. Because, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that your father is on his way out the door. I'm not saying that your father is transitioning out. What I'm saying is, um, now is not the time to remove yourself. But then the third key that's very important is you have to have time for you. I use this analogy often, and I just recently had this talk with my mom. There's a reason why they tell you on an airplane that in the event of the loss of cabin pressure, you put your mask on first. Because if you're spending all of your time taking care of everybody else, and you never take a moment to take care of yourself, then when you pass out, not only does that affect you, but that affects everybody that you were trying to help. Sometimes you've got to be selfish. A lot of times when we look at taking care of our own needs and we look at taking care of ourselves, we kind of consider that to be a selfish act. No, that's not selfish. That's self care. Self care is very important. Now, being selfish is when you neglect everybody else and you have the capacity to do so. But self care is when you are taking care of yourself so that you can have the capacity to take care of somebody else. Again, if I'm on an airplane and my oxygen mask falls and I'm sitting beside a 5-year-old child, I can't expend all of my energy and all of my oxygen trying to put this 5-year-old's mask on because they're going to be fighting me through the process because they don't understand what's going on. I got to be able to put my mask on first. Self care. Self care. I've got to put my mask on first. And so, in the process of trying to date over 40, you've got to understand self care is important. And if you need or you desire or you crave companionship, carve out time for yourself to have some companionship. Carve out time for yourself to have a friend. It doesn't always have to be romantic, although, we want romance. When I say we, I mean me. I like spending time with my lady. I like spending that intimate time together. I like spending um that us time when we don't have to talk about the stuff that life got going on. And then sometimes it helps to have that someone that you can talk about the things that life got going on so that you don't bleed out on other people. Sometimes you just need an outlet that you can just breathe. And everything doesn't always require a conversation. Sometimes you just want to sit down and say nothing. And you need to be with someone or be in a space with someone that you can do that. You can talk about what you got going on in life, or you can talk about what's going on in politics, or you can talk about your favorite recipe, or you can talk about going to see Kung Fu Panda 3 or Kung Fu Panda 4 or live action Mulan. Um, you can talk about all of those things that have no mental requirements, but it just gives you a break. Because a lot of times that's what we need. We just need a break. And then if you can find that someone who has the capacity to handle everything that you bring to the table, then not only does that give you the space for companionship, to pursue dating, but it also gives you a sense of support and it gives you a sense of relief. So I hope that answered your question. Let's go to my next nugget. My daughter is bipolar and has left me to care for my grandson. My mom is also living in the nursing home. I've raised three kids and they're all adults now. Though I love my grandson, I don't know if I am capable of raising a little one at this stage in my life. I'm still able to visit my mom often, but it's not easy to balance the emotional, physical, and financial challenges, all while continuing to work every day. Lord, have mercy, Jesus. Now, this is the reality of things. Like, these are real stories. I'm not making this up. These are real situations that are going on out here. And so you now have a mother who has a daughter who's bipolar. And because the daughter is bipolar, she has left the mother with the care for her child. But this is a mother who is saying, I've already raised three children. I don't know if I have the capacity to raise another one, especially not at this stage. So I would imagine that this child is younger. This child could be a toddler. Child could be an infant. This child could be in the terrific twos. I say terrific twos because I believe words have power, and I don't like using the phrase terrible twos. Um, I think all of these things are key. Um, I'm glad that either you or your daughter had the wherewithal and were forward thinking enough to go ahead and get her some help, because if depending on the age of the child, you don't want to leave a mother you don't want the mother to have to deal with a toddler with her own mental instabilities, because then you put the child at risk. um you don't know what type of mental emergency um, that the mother could have that could cause harm to the child. And so I'm grateful that you all had um, enough grace, I guess I can use that word, to go ahead and get the mother some help. But I understand now you're having to deal with now raising your grandchild, and you have a mother who's in the nursing home. That's hard, because a lot of times people in nursing homes they're put in nursing homes out of necessity, but then oftentimes they are put in nursing homes and forgotten about. I remember times when we would, as a matter of fact, my aunt who just passed, she stayed in a nursing home. And as a family, my family, we're very active and we're very visible in our lives, in each other's lives. Excuse me. And so I would oftentimes take my mom up to the nursing home to visit her, and I wouldn't take her, but my aunt, my other aunt, and my uncles and my cousins would go up to the nursing home to visit her. But in the times that I would go up there, you would have so many people who they would just be excited to see somebody's family, because you just don't know how long it has been since their family has come to visit them. And so, this is a classic case of a person who falls in the sandwich generation, because you have this person who now has a mother who's in a nursing home. You have a daughter who is in some type of a mental institution or facility. Um, and you have a grandchild who now you have the responsibility of seeing after. And then if you have two other children, in addition to the daughter, those are two other children who we don't know what they're requiring from you or what they're leaning on you to do. We don't know the ages of those other children. Um, because just because a child becomes an adult, and my mom will attest to this, but hopefully she won't attest too loud. Now get yourself together, mama. But just because a child is an adult, and I'm saying this also as the father of two adult daughters, they don't just because they're an adult, that doesn't mean they are no longer relying on you. Um, they still in your pocket. And then sometimes they may not be making the best life decisions. And as a parent, you have to watch it, and you can give suggestions and you can give advice, but you got to let your children live their lives. But that's hard to do, especially if you feel like your child is going down a wrong path. Um, but you gotta let them learn, let them bump their heads. Um, the to the person who sent me this note, I gosh, I really I'm gonna hold on to all of these notes, because I need a mental health professional to help with this. I don't have the answers. I don't have the keys. I don't have the solutions. I don't know. All I can tell you is I can pray for you. I can't tell you that I can't tell you how to navigate that, because that's not been my situation. Um, Again, you've got to be honest with yourself, and you've got to be honest with um with the people around you. If you have siblings, cry for help. There is nothing wrong. Hear me when I say there is nothing wrong with asking for help. Hold on, because I think I got where my button at? Where is my button?
Help me! Help me!
There's nothing wrong. Ask for
Help me! Help me!
There's nothing wrong with asking for help. Ask for help, because if you don't ask for help and you make everything seem like it's easy, then the people around you will assume you got it all together, not knowing that you're imploding on the inside. They don't know what you're struggling with because you're not telling anybody. You cannot do this by yourself. Get some help, please. Even if that means you have to reach out to your other two children and say, hey, I need you to help me out with your niece or your nephew, because you know what your sibling is going through. And so I'm asking you if you can just give me some help. I'm not asking you to take them on full time. I'm not asking you to take them 100% of the time, but I am asking you if you can give me some help, because I got to go check on your grandmama. And if you can't help me with your niece or your nephew, then can you go check on your grandmama? I just need some help. I need some help. And there's nothing wrong with asking for help. And that's not just help, isn't always physical help. Uh, help asking for help can be financial. Hey, can you give me $20 so I can get some gas? Can you give me $20 so I can buy some Pampers or buy some food? Can you give me $50 so I can do this? Can you help me? Can you give me $5? Can you give me? But now you just got to make sure that you ain't trying to get over on people. Be honest. Don't just go out here asking people for money and you don't need money, because if they find out that you took advantage of them, then it will not happen again. So don't shoot your own self in the foot. But that's a lot to deal with. And again, these aren't just random situations that we pulling out the sky. These are things that are really happening to people. Like, we use the phrase often, but it's real. Life be lifing, and life don't play fair. And so yes, my biggest piece of advice to you would be ask for help. By all means, please stay active in your daughter's life as much as you can, because at the same time, you don't want your mother to feel like she's been neglected in the nursing home. You don't want your daughter to feel like she's out here by herself. You don't want your daughter to feel like you've abandoned her. Now, again, keep in mind all of this under the constructs of what you have the capacity to do. Don't overextend yourself beyond where you've already been overextended. All right, here we go. Next note. My husband is angry with me because I was not able to travel with him and my son last month to his family reunion. I'm an only child, and my mom had to have cataract surgery this week. Although she seemed to be fine, I wanted to stay home with her in case she needed me to run errands. This could go a couple of ways. This could go a couple of ways. On one hand, I understand wanting to be there to support your mother. Um, I understand having had cataract surgery and not wanting to leave her there by herself. On the other hand, I'm not saying that your husband had the right to be upset, but I I get it. My question is, where was the I mean, there are a lot of things to take into account. Where was the family reunion? Was this reunion within close enough proximity that you could have driven? Was, you know, I this is where communication is key. Um, this is where you just gotta this is where you gotta sit down and you just gotta talk it out. How long have you all been planning this reunion? When did the cataract surgery occur? Uh, when did you have the conversation with your husband to say, hey, I might need to miss the reunion? What are your thoughts? Or, what can we do to balance the two of them? Now, my question to the husband would be, how much support did you give your wife during this uh process? You know, did you just be like, man, forget you and your mama? Um, you, I that's a heavy one, you know. And again, these are real life instances. Like, these are real life conversations. Um, I'm definitely going to hold on to these. I am definitely going to find a therapist or somebody who's going to help me to sit down and break these topics down, and we're going to revisit this because I mean these are things I one of the goals of the Steps At It podcast is not just to provide regular, everyday content. um I want to be able to provide people with information that's going to help them. I want to provide people with content that they can go back weeks, months, years from now and watch and be like, oh, I remember that step guy had a show about this. And that was some very good information. I want to go back and revisit it. I want to be able to provide my my listeners with, with this information so that they can have a point of reference to go back to. And so I'm definitely going to revisit all of these with a therapist because, again, all I can give you is my own opinion. And mm, my opinion is not going to be packed with tools that are going to help you. Um, my opinion is not going to, I just don't know how beneficial my opinion is going to be in this process. Um, I think this is an instance where communication is is vital. I don't think anybody should have been upset with anybody. I think this could have been talked out. But I also think you've got to step out of your situation. So, husband, you got to step out of your situation and look at it from the situation of the wife. And wife, you've got to step out of your situation as much as you can and look at it from the aspect of the husband. It's interesting. I was watching something on Facebook today. There was and some of you have probably seen this. There was a teacher who he walked in his classroom, and there were two students in there arguing, and it was a pretty aggressive argument. And so the teacher walked in and he said, hey, what's going on? What we got going on here? And both parties began to start yelling back and forth because everybody wanted to get their point across. Everybody wanted to say what they wanted to say. And so the teacher, he had both students to get on either end of his desk and turn their backs to each other. He took a ball, he put the ball on the desk. He said, turn around. And he asked one student, he said, what color is the ball? The student said, the ball is white. And the other student was like, what do you mean? How can you say the ball is white? It is very obvious that the ball is black. So they tempers start to flare up. The teacher says, okay, pause. Now I want you all to walk around to the other side of the desk, but don't look at the ball. So they walk around to the other side of the desk. They both look at the ball, and their expressions immediately change. And so the teacher said, okay, what do you see now? And the student says, the ball is white. And he asked the other student, what do you see now? He said, the ball is black. So then the teacher takes the ball and he turns it around in front of the camera. And the ball is actually half white, half black. The problem is we try to fight our battles only on the part of the ball that we see without taking the time to look at the whole ball. And so all I see is black. And so I'm arguing my point because what I see is black, and all I see is white because I'm arguing my point because all I see is white. But have you taken the time to walk around to the other side of the desk? Have you taken the time to look at a situation from the other person's perspective? And so I think in this situation, I don't think the husband needed to necessarily be angry. I think the husband and wife needed to talk. I think that was the key to uh, that situation. Once again, these are intense topics. I was really hoping that I could have said something on one of these questions to make somebody laugh at least, because this is my goodness. But I mean, this is real stuff. You know, this is real stuff, and like I said, I'm going to revisit all of these. I'm going to have someone to come on to the show and help me break these down. So that's actually all I have. That's all I have for tonight. I do want to thank you all for tuning in to the Steps Edit podcast. Coming up in the near future, I'm going to do my best to make sure that we are still broadcasting, but we are going to be making some changes to the show because of some events that have come up for me. I will not be going live on Thursdays. I will start moving forward, going to pre-recorded shows. But I still want the engagement. We're still going to be posting content, and I will be doing special live shows, and I'll make sure that I let you all know when these will be happening. Y'all, please don't count me out. You know, we got a lot of things going on. We have shifted the business now. We have gone beyond just the Steps Edit podcast, and we are now officially full blown Steps Edit entertainment. Part of that Steps Edit entertainment process is DJing gigs, event hosting. I am a trivia host. I am a party host. And I can just tell you where you can find me on Monday nights right now. I am at Kingpin, which is inside of Fannin Lanes and Brandon. We're doing live trivia there on Monday nights. On Tuesday nights, starting at 6:30, we play a game called Singo at Buffalo Wild Wings. Singo is bingo with music, and that starts at 6:30, and then immediately after that, starting at 8:30, from 8:30 to 10:30, it is blazing hot karaoke at Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm telling you, we had a good time this past Wednesday. No, I'm sorry, this past Tuesday. We had a wonderful time, a nice crowd. It was a vibe in there. And so you don't want to miss that. Then on Wednesdays, I am back at Buffalo Wild Wings on Lake Harbor in Ridgeland. On Tuesdays and Wednesdays, it's the Lake Harbor in Ridgeland. It's the Buffalo Wild Wings in Ridgeland, doing live trivia on Wednesday nights. And starting Thursday, I will be hosting trivia in Vicksburg at the Ameristar Casino. And so we had to make some adjustments. We had to make some shifts. But this is a good thing. And so we're still going to be pulling content together. We're still going to be posting because I do know that I have some faithful listeners who listen to me on a regular basis. And I do not want to lose that momentum. Please take the time, visit our website, go to stepsedit.com. There we will be adding updates and things to about things that we'll be doing. Also consider partnering with the Steps Edit podcast. Become a partner. Jump in on the things that we got going on. You can also follow me across all social media platforms. I am Steps Edit on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok. It's Steps Edit all over the place. And so please jump in, follow me. If you'd like to be a part of the show, if you have a topic that you want to discuss, if you have a letter that you want me to answer on the show, you can send me an email to stepsedit@gmail.com, or you can again go to my website, www.stepsedit.com, and there you can click on the contact us link and send your letters there or any suggestions. Y'all listen, if you're enjoying the show, just please like it, share it, let everybody know about it. We want to increase the followers. We want to increase the engagement. I thank those of you who have logged on and have been watching me on tonight. I promise you I'm going to go back and I'm going to respond to all of your comments. This has been the Steps Edit podcast. Once again, I am Stephen B, and I am your host here. So thank you again for taking this time. I know some of y'all not listening to me right now because y'all doing what I'm about to start doing here in just a minute, and that's watching the game. Hail to the I love the Jackson State University. For those of you who know me, y'all know this is my favorite time of the year, baby. It's football season. This is what I've been waiting to get to for a long time. So once again, I want to thank you all for joining me on the show tonight. Whether you're watching me live or you're watching me on the playback, I value your time. I appreciate it. And I hope I said something on the show tonight that will at least give you a little bit of encouragement and give you that push to go another further. And if anybody asks you, where you get your information from, you know what to tell them. Steph said it. Y'all have a good night. I love you. We'll see y'all next week.